Hello and welcome. I'm Tiana Stevens, your host for this edition of CityWise. Well, winter in Rochester means ice skating, sledding, hot chocolate, and the very popular Lakeside Winter Celebration. The event, now in its 30th year, is part of the city's Winter Adventures program. It's organized by the Ontario Beach Park Program Committee and sponsored by the City of Rochester and Monroe County. The event takes place at Ontario Beach Park and the Port of Rochester on Saturday, February 8th and Sunday, February 9th. And joining us now in studio to tell us about what we can expect at this year's Lakeside Winter Celebration is Jim Farr. He's the city's Assistant Director of the Department of Recreation. Hi, Jim.
Hi, Tina.
How are you? Tell us what's new at this year's festival.
Well, you know, a couple of things really. For one thing, we're combining with the Harbortown Merchants Association to try to make it a whole weekend this year. And you know, for the past 14 years, we've had a Sunday event, and we partnered with the law enforcement folks and the Polar Plunge and all the other events in one day. Well, we really thought, you know, because the Polar Plunge has become so popular and just draws so many people, that the two events were kind of outgrowing each other, and we'd like to really expand it so people could enjoy a whole weekend. So we got together with the Harbortown Merchants Association, and they're going to have specials and discounts at restaurants and Shalat for the weekend. So it's really a whole Friday, Saturday, and Sunday of fun at the lake that people can enjoy.
Mm-hmm. And I understand about 10,000 people come out each year. Families, what activities for kids can we find at the Lakeside Winter Celebration?
Well, the Rec on the Move folks will be down there, and that's our mobile recreation center, and they're going to have all kinds of outdoor things. There'll be snowshoes that kids can try. We'll have a dog sled demo. We'll have horse-drawn sleigh or carriage rides, depending on what's going on with the weather. We have a snow sculpture contest, and we have a lot of families that enter that. This year it's famous buildings, so you can think about some building that you'd like to try to sculpt out of snow. And if you want to start early, you can call ahead at the rec office and start even on Friday night to give yourself a lot of time to prepare for that. So there's all kinds of activities for the kids, things to keep them busy. The chili itself, the Chili Challenge, which this is, I think, the 20th year that we've done that. It's just a great event. You know, we'll have 8 or 10 or 12 restaurants down there and a couple of amateurs, all vying for the honor of the best chili in Rochester, and they all cook up 20 gallons of chili because the public can come in and sample it. And so you buy a wristband and you can go in and sample as much as you want. And we have prizes for the best professional and the best amateur. And then also the People's Choice, where you get a bean and you put it in your favorite chili, and the people help choose their favorite chili too. So those are, we'll also have, you know, other food available for sale for folks to buy. And so it's just a lot of fun.
And that's inside the Port of Rochester
Inside the Port of Rochester terminal,
okay.
So it'll be nice and warm. And also in there, you know, more for the adults, we'll have, this is our 5th year, I think, with the Lake Ontario Wine Festival, which this year we have about 12 wineries coming, and a couple of microbreweries too, and that's something new this year. We'll actually have Rohrbox and at least one other microbrewery that will be there too, so you can come in and sample some wine, sample some beer, and you can actually buy bottles of wine and buy growlers of beer too at the event. So that's kind of a different twist to it. It's almost like an indoor farmers market. We'll also have a couple of farmers there selling seasonal products. They'll probably have maple syrup and apples and some of the things that are still available this time of year, but we'll have that going on too. So that'll be, from noon to 4, that'll be going on Saturday. And I talked about we expanded it to 2 days, and I know there's going to be another segment to really talk all about the Polar Plunge, but the Polar Plunge is going to be the hit on Sunday at 12 noon. And and that's just an event, and if you haven't seen it, it's something that you have to experience. And I actually did it the first year, and I may do it again another year, but we'll see. But anyhow, and then after that we have a hike at 1 o'clock that starts at the port terminal that's going to explore the whole port area and go up to Turning Point Park, and so it'll be a lot of fun. So you can really spend, and then we're hoping that folks are going to take the afternoon on Sunday and visit one of the restaurants or other businesses in Charlotte and really make a weekend out of it.
And the Lakeside Winter Celebration is part of the city's Winter Adventure series. What other things, after the festival, what other things can people in Rochester do in the winter that are outdoors that maybe they don't know about?
Well, we started a few years ago to really, we always did a summer program brochure and had all kinds of things for kids and families to do in the summertime. And we do another brochure that really focuses on what goes on in our recreation centers in the winter months in the school year. But we really didn't focus as much on outside activities that families can do. And really, we want to get kids and families out in the wintertime. You can't just lock yourself in the house for 6 months. You have to get out and experience the winter. So, besides the Martin Luther King skating rink, and the Genesee Valley skating rink, which are open all winter long and have a lot of different opportunities there for skate lessons for kids and other, if you're into hockey or we actually have a youth hockey league that city kids can get involved in, and we have sponsors that help pay for the equipment and do some things for that. So that's another thing. But we have a whole series of hikes that take place on the city's trail system. Some of them, if the weather permits, we do on snowshoes, and you can learn how to use snowshoes. You can rent snowshoes actually at the recreation office on Dewey Avenue and take them yourself and try them for the weekend. We're working in cooperation with Cornell Cooperative Extension of Monroe County and have put together a series of garden and other talks that are on Wednesday evenings, and then we have another series of talks on Saturdays at different libraries and rec centers around the city. And most those focus on everything from raising urban chickens to different cures for using herbs and things for cures, and just showcasing some of the urban gardens that we have out in the city, and so just a variety of different things. Our Rec on the Move folks are also going to do a winter camp during the February break and bring different rec centers each day, and you can find out more information on our website. Actually out to Ellison Park, because they have a great sledding hill out there and a whole bunch of other things on Monday through Thursday at break week, and then on Friday they're going to have a celebration at Martin Luther King, formerly Junior Park, formerly Manhattan Square Park, in downtown with skating and activities in the lodge there, and so just a really great day or week of activities that week.
I understand there's something special planned at the public market with the food trucks, very popular during the summer months, and everyone's asking where'd they go. So you have some news for us?
Yeah, we're actually going to do a food truck snowdeo on Sunday afternoon, February 16th, at the market from 1 till 5, and it's our first venture into the winter time, but they've just been so popular in the summer. The events are actually almost overwhelming with the number of people that come down there. So we're hoping we may not have quite as many trucks as we have in the summer, but we're hoping to have over 20, and a lot of the most popular ones. We'll have an area that's heated and indoors where people can get out of the cold to eat, and we'll have Roarbox down there, and we partner with the Market District Business Association. We'll have a band, we'll have beer, we'll have food trucks, so it's a great way to spend a Sunday afternoon at the market and just get out and have some fun. It's what it's about here.
What are the other winter activities at at the public market specifically that people can enjoy?
Well, you know, we get calls no matter how much advertising we do in marketing to let people know that the market's open all winter. We do get calls and asking us if we're open, and we are open, you know, 52 weeks a year, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. So, yeah, you know, especially on Saturdays in the wintertime, all your favorite vendors are there, and we have a lot more and more businesses that are located in the district around the market that are open even other days of the week that are open, you know, every day of the week. There's bakeries and a new distillery down the street where they're actually just put out their first product just before Christmas, Black Button Distillery, and you know, and it's the public market's part of the city. Our goal at the city is really to make it a district that's active and vital, not just on Saturdays or Thursdays, but you know, 7 days a week and 365 days a year. So come on down. The bakeries are there. All the fish people are there on Saturdays, and your favorite butchers and everybody is there. So it's don't lock yourself in for the winter time.
Wonderful. One thing I did want to mention, the Sunday of the Lakeside Winter Celebration, the sailboat racing. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, the Rochester Yacht Club for years has been doing a frostbite sailboat race where they actually go out in the river in front of the yacht club, weather permitting. Now, if there's chunks of ice coming down, they can't do it, but if the water's fairly clear, they'll be out there, and they actually do some mini races, and it's a kind of a sail training program, and it's just, you know, it's a great, from the inside of the terminal, to look out there and just see sailboats and snow, and it's, you know, it makes a great photo, and it's fun to watch. You know, it's fun to watch them.
So again, the Lakeside Winter Celebration, that's on Ontario Beach Park and the Port of Rochester, Saturday, February 8th, Sunday, February 9th. Jim, thank you very much for coming on.
Thanks.
And more information at www.cityofrochester.gov/winter celebration. Yeah. In celebration of Black Heritage Month 2014, the City of Rochester's Black Heritage Committee presents the Black Heritage Conference, Saturday, February 1st from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Rochester Educational Outreach Center, located at 161 Chestnut Street. Tickets are $10 each and may be purchased at City Hall, room 100A. For more information, call 428-9857 or visit cityofrochester.gov. Well, a big part of the Lakeside Winter Celebration is the Polar Plunge. This 14th annual event takes place on day 2 of the event, so that's on Sunday, February 9th. Surely you've seen pictures or video of people taking a quick plunge into Lake Ontario in the dead of winter. Water temperatures are usually in the 30-degree range this time of year. You may have asked yourself, why? Well, it's all for a good cause. In fact, the slogan, "Freezing for a Reason," suits it well, and the Polar Plunge is a fundraising effort. It benefits the Special Olympics of New York. It's one of the many events that are part of the law enforcement torch run for the Special Olympics. And joining us now is Deputy Sal Garbino, welcome, and Assistant State Director of the Law Enforcement Torch Run, and Mike Crisona, Regional Director of the Special Olympics. Yep. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
Mike, give us a little history about the Polar Plunge.
Well, the Polar Plunge, it's 14 years old, started by law enforcement officers locally from Rochester. And, you know, in saying that, I really have to emphasize that this is an event that is run strictly by, it's volunteer driven. We have 6 staff members that cover the entire greater Rochester area. So for an event that has 2,000 people, this is a volunteer driven event, and it would not exist without the law enforcement that has started the Polar Plunge and continues to run it today. 14 years ago, they had less than 100 plungers, and today, our plunge for 2014, we're anticipating 2,000 plungers, and we're on track to raise $250,000.
That's wonderful. It seems like the event kind of grows each year. Mm-hmm. How do the funds benefit the Special Olympics?
Well, a very important thing to note about Special Olympics, one of our core values as an organization is any athlete that participates in the Special Olympics, regardless of their age, where they live, they are never charged a dime for their competition. Everything we do is free of charge, whether they're participating in a local Rochester event or whether they're going to state games, national games, world games. Everything they do is on the dime of Special Olympics. So clearly that requires funding. So for an event like the Polar Plunge, it's our signature fundraiser here in Rochester. So the money raised goes towards athletic equipment, uniforms, travel, lodging for athletes, facilities, everything and anything it takes to host a Special Olympics event. That's what the Polar Plunge is supporting.
Wonderful. And Sal, you've been with the Law Enforcement Torch Run for 20 years. You said since day one. Give us a little bit of history about that organization.
The organization itself started in Wichita, Kansas about 33 years ago. Unlike most organizations that attach themselves to other organizations to raise funds for them, the Law Enforcement Torch Run was created, it actually came to be as an organization in its inception for Special Olympics. So our sole purpose is to exist as the fundraisers and the awareness vehicle for Special Olympics. Subsequent to the international attachment and its inception that many years ago, New York adopted it approximately 28 years ago. And within the Rochester area, Lieutenant from the Greece Police Department was pretty much the spearhead and my mentor, and he brought me on board. And in those days I was nothing but a runner for the event, and over time it transitioned into me taking his position. The torch run itself, people say, torch run, what's that got to do with Polar Plunge? What's that got to do with Special Olympics? Well, the actual torch run does take place numerous times a year at the local level, state level, national level, and ultimately the world level. And at the local level, we run the torch into opening summer games every first week in June. From there, the state games, officers from around the state, as opposed to the local officers who do our end, we meet in the location that the state games are being held, and we run the torch into opening ceremonies there. Throughout the year, the officers of the torch run, as our mission indicates, fundraisers for Special Olympics in addition to the awareness vehicle. We do as many crazy events, and the word crazy we attach because it seems the crazier, the easier to raise money. And with cops doing crazy things, always legal and always family oriented, we seem to do pretty well at it for our cause.
And so in the case of the Polar Plunge, it seems that the community has also really jumped on board, and many of the participants come from the community. How many different law enforcement agencies participate in the Polar Plunge?
In Rochester specifically, I'm going to guesstimate 15 to 16. The word law enforcement, as it applies to the torch run, includes all local, state, and federal agencies, and it ranges from police officers, corrections officers, all the way up and through Secret Service, FBI agents, parole, probation. So the mix is the entire system of law enforcement personnel. And to back up to your statement about the public, we're the machine that puts the product together, but we don't exist without the public support of us. And quite honestly, Mike is always gracious in saying that the policemen do all of the work. Well, we facilitate, we coordinate, but our volunteer base is all-inclusive. People from all over the city of Rochester, the county of Monroe, are the volunteers that attach themselves to us. So torch run driven, civilian population workers that make it happen. And then the great numbers that come out for the event, the actual people that are the plungers. Again, Rochester is unique. We seem to beat the entire rest of the state hands down, and that is a challenge, yes, but it's a fact also. Right. We beat them hands down in numbers of people that come out and support these events.
That's wonderful. And you mentioned that the events are crazy but fun, and in the picture we saw a Super Mario Brothers duo with a plunger, so that was a really a good costume. But let's take a look at what a polar plunge looks like here in Rochester. Okay, so now I have to ask, what are the safety measures? The water looks very cold. You have the guys out there in red, obviously watching everyone very closely. What sort of safety measures are in place, and do people need to, have a screening before they enter the polar plunge for safety reasons?
There's no screening necessary. We did a lot of research the year of the first plunge, and the research included the United States Coast Guard for everything from cold water rescue to the hypothermia questions. We spoke with doctors, and the reality is the extreme weather isn't dangerous. Abusing the extreme weather is dangerous. So the one thing that we do, we request that everyone who participates sign a waiver in that, and part of the reason for that is that it includes asking them to be honest with themselves about whether they have major medical conditions, something that would cause them to be at risk anywhere outdoors, and add to it the dynamic of the cold water and the weather. And it's a decision that they have to make because we're not physically screening them for that. What we do on site for safety, it's all encompassing. The orange uniforms or the orange outfits that you see down by the water are complemented by black outfits, and what that is, the United States Coast Guard and the Monroe County Sheriff's Department scuba team, and this year the Rochester scuba team, literally form a barricade in the lake so that no one can proceed past them. And the point at which they stand, the water is only approximately waist deep. Secondly, we have ambulances on base with additional medical staff on hand the entire morning should anyone have a medical issue or a problem. And quite honestly, the types of problems at minimum as they have been that have come up have pretty much not been related to weather. So those dynamics are in place, those pieces are in place every year.
Okay, and Mike, you don't have to get in the water if that's not, what you want to do. There's other ways to help. How can we get involved in other ways?
Great question. And first of all, the event is its goal is to raise funds and awareness for the athletes of Special Olympics. So plunging is kind of the celebration of all of that. So we have a little slogan: if you're too chicken to plunge, you could still help us out. You're more than welcome to still fundraise. You could still register for the event if anyone who raises $60 or more earns the official Polar Plunge sweatshirt. But no, you are not required to plunge, of course. There are like we mentioned, there'll be about 2,000 plungers at the end of the day, but at the event, you're looking at anywhere from 3,000 to 5,000 people. So you have a good, more than half the people at the event aren't actually plunging. We have people that can simply come to watch. As I said, you could fundraise and not plunge. Volunteers, Sal mentioned that, we have an entire army of volunteers putting this event on. If you have a business and you'd like to bring your employees, if you're a high school student and you'd like to bring your club, please, we're always welcoming volunteer groups to come and help out. So plenty of ways to get involved if you don't want to brave the cold waters and take the plunge.
And it looks like this year there's a little competition with high school clubs.
Yeah, it's something we started this year that we're excited about. We've noticed that we've gradually really grown in college and high school involvement, so we started a contest called the Fly Your Colors contest this year. So whichever school-based team raises the most money, whether you're high school, college, we have about 10 elementary schools registered to plunge. Whichever one of those teams raises the most money, we're going to put their specific school colors on the 2015 Polar Plunge sweatshirts. So that's a fun incentive for
Right.
more schools to get involved.
And how can people volunteer to take the plunge? Is there walk-on registration? What can you do?
It is as easy as we can make it. Polarplunge.net is our Rochester-specific Polar Plunge website. It's a simple click and registration right online. We have a registration form that you can mail in. If you would like to simply walk up day of, that is perfectly okay as well. So many very easy and simple ways to register.
Mm-hmm. When can we expect to see the Special Olympics back in the Rochester area? They were here last winter. It was very exciting times for all. When could we see them again?
Yeah, we move the state games around quite frequently, simply to give our athletes the ability to save on traveling. So this summer, our state games were in Buffalo. Our winter games are going to be in Syracuse this year, but within the next year or two, we're hoping to bring them back to Rochester. Rochester has a very rich history of Special Olympics. The 1979 International Games were held at Brockport University, which that university takes a lot of pride in. There's actually a Special Olympics statue there on campus, so hopefully in the next year or so, we'll get them back here in Rochester.
Okay, great. And Sal, what's next for the law enforcement torch run? Any upcoming events aside from the Polar Plunge?
In the Rochester area, the next scheduled event will be summer games. The first week of June, we'll have the ceremonial torch run into opening games. On a larger scale, also in June, we have national games that are taking place in New Jersey, and a contingent from Rochester will be going to that. Some of our New York State law enforcement officers are in what's called the final leg, the carrying of the torch at that major event. And beyond that, the smaller events within the community that come up, we get asked to go to those and do medal presentations and such, which we do.
Well, great. Thank you guys very much for coming on.
Thank you.
Good luck to you with the Polar Plunge.
All right.
For more information about the Polar Plunge, you can visit the website, and that's special for the Special Olympics. It's thepolarplunge.net. I'm Tiana Stevens. Thanks for joining us on this edition of CityWise.